Hey everyone. As you can guess from the title of this video, please do not hate me after watching this, and sorry if it does hurt those who take this message pretty negatively, but this is something I've been planning on making for the last 2 years, but lots of things have come up and I've been forced to postpone. It's about this one YouTuber named SSJ Blake. I understand that a lot of you were good fans of him and greatly supported his content, as well as his VR chat videos. You probably especially know him best as Boom Sonic and Metal Sonic from the Multiverse Sonic AU, and his girlfriend Brenna Okazaki was the voice of Brandy the Lycan, who was Multiverse Sonic's former wife, and Metal Sonic was their adopted son. Blake unfortunately left the franchise because for some reason he wasn't having fun doing it anymore, and Brenna left because she decided to move in with him. And as a result of this, both Brandy the Lycan and Metal Sonic, as well as their kids, were all of a sudden maliciously killed off. After that, I was absolutely disappointed, I will admit. I mean, it took me a long time to get over you killing off Boom Sonic, but after you killed off Multiverse Sonic's wife and Metal Sonic, you basically took everything great and nostalgic about your story and flushed it all down the drain. Fleet Ray Supersonic, aka Uni, who you may know her as, a former friend of yours, agrees with me, for at least most of it. I stopped watching Multiverse Sonic entirely after that. And haven't you guys ever heard of something called actor replacement? Like if Brenna has a sister or a cousin or something, she could she could be the replacement voice for Brandy. And same thing for you, Blake, with Boom and Metal. If you don't want to voice them anymore, cuz perhaps those would be people you can trust with your own avatars. Like, seriously, do you just simply like ruining character relationships and traumatizing people or something? Because you decide to kill off Boom Sonic because that would satisfy you, and you do the exact same thing to the others. Can I just honestly say, you're much worse than Ian Flynn, plot writing wise, with this Super Genesis Wave bullshitting crap. But I do agree that it was a terrible thing for your fans to threaten you over killing Boom. I'm I'm surprised they didn't do the same with Brandy or Metal, but I would gladly say that Multiverse Sonic should not continue if those characters will no longer be part of it. But anyway, I'm putting that all aside. I just wanted to get that all out. No matter how much I disagree with all your decisions, I'm not going to waste time complaining about that. I'm here to discuss something else entirely. This is regarding something that actually matters. You've said before that this situation doesn't matter and I'm wasting time complaining about it. Well, yes, it does. You can deny it all you want, and it won't make things easier for you. This topic is regarding a confrontation I had with Blake and Musxaders over 2 years ago. I left you guys alone for this long. Now, please listen. 2 years is a pretty damn long break, so don't say that I'm not respecting your boundaries. It's currently 3 in the morning as I'm recording this, but I absolutely cannot sleep. I've had to go to therapy more often and do things to help keep my mind off this. I know you said last time that this kind of stuff doesn't matter, but it it matters to me. It's only obvious at this point that you care very little about your fans, and, and I know you have personal issues. I have them as well. But that does not excuse you for the things you said to me 2 years ago. What you said to me made me very upset. I'm also making this in case there were any people out there who once supported you, who you've been an absolute piece of shit to. I don't want people to go through this disappointment by finding out your true colors. Unless you can prove me wrong, I might think better of you. For all of you. After what you said to me last time, yes, I did stop watching your videos for a while, but I got back to it after I pulled myself together, and it sure as hell wasn't easy. For those of you who'd like to know what happened, this all occurred a while a while back while Blake was still active on Twitter and YouTube. Both he and Brenna were still part of the Multiverse Sonic AU. Blake, Brenna, and Musxaders kept on gaslighting me with bullshit remarks. Brenna and Blake accused me of saying that Brandy was sexy. Musxaders posted in a private tweet he received from Brenna. The icon of the picture looks like some sort of yellow Animal Crossing cat with its hair pulled over its eyes. The message was deleted, but I saved the screenshot. Brenna basically accused me of saying creepy shit about Brandy, and that I tried to flip it around, that I only said she was cute, which is completely bullshit. She also said that the real reason why she blocked me was because I said Brandy was sexy when children follow her SFW Twitter. I was a little perplexed when she said when children follow her SFW Twitter. I was in no way any less confused than when she had already blocked me. I didn't even know who she was talking about, but later assumed she was talking about Ozno Fantasy. First, when she said children, I assumed she was talking about like an 8 or 11-year-old, not a teenager. So, I at the time thought that she wasn't being too relevant to the topic, but later did learn that she was referring to Ozno Fantasy. But either way, I doubt she or Blake would have even cared if I knew what I was blocked for. They obviously didn't care if whether I knew I was breaking the rules of their guidelines or not. I feel like they just like to block whomever they please, without any warning. Musxaders tried to show everyone what I said, but added that he couldn't find the so-called original tweet because he said it was missing. Let's do some rechecking on that. The reason why you can't find this bullshit tweet is because it never existed. Brenna blocked me somewhere between April 22nd to the 24th of 2022, and they said this in June of the same year. What actually happened was I gave a friendly compliment to some of Brenna's art like everyone does. The picture was posted by an artist, the same artist, Ozno Fantasy. I have no idea if he's even still active anymore, honestly, but he drew a picture of Brenna's OC, Brandy the Lycan, pregnant, and I gave a friendly compliment. The only thing I said was cute, and I had a thumbs up emoji next to it. And I commented on another picture which was drawn by her. All I said was that I don't picture her wearing a bow, and I asked why she wasn't wearing shoes. That's all. And a few days later, I find out that she blocked me, and I had absolutely no idea why she did. I texted an apology tweet to her asking why she had me blocked, and I apologized for whatever reason she could have done so, and I told Steven about it, and then an hour later, Steven went online and saw that Brenner retweeted a message from some dude named Musxaders, who I absolutely had no idea who he was, or that he was associated with Nick, Brenner, or Blake. He also already had me blocked too, before I knew who he was. And what Musxaders' message said was if somebody blocks you on Twitter, you don't make an alt to circumvent it, and that a block means fuck off. Steven took it as a sign of just complete disrespect and started chastising Musxaders. Now, Musxaders states that the chastising went on for over a month. While it did go on for a few days, Musxaders overlooked a gap between May the 11th to June the 3rd, which means the chastising didn't go on for a month. It was actually a few days in total. And I should have told him to stop, but I didn't. But still, he only got mad because of how disrespectful that message sounded. Because I only tried apologizing to Brenna and didn't know what she had blocked me for, and you made a tweet saying fuck off, and that was very rude. Brenna, if you had told me that I was sounding creepy, you could have just told me and I would have gladly stopped, instead of doing the most irrational thing of jumping to conclusions and blocking me. Musxaders also said that the tweet wasn't directly about me. Well, how the fuck was that not about me? He mentioned that someone made an alt to try and circumvent around a block, and that was posted at the same time, the same hour, and almost immediately after I tried apologizing to her from my first blocked account. I know my name wasn't mentioned, but it sounded pretty conspicuous to us. So, how could it have not have been about me? Somewhere near the middle of June, I made a video to apologize for whatever it was they blocked me for, and sent it to Brenna, Blake, and Musxaders' Twitter. Steven also read what Musxaders had posted in his entitlement lecture. Steven told me that Musxaders said something about saying the pictures were sexy. That was the only hint I had gotten at the time. But whether if I knew what I was blocked for or not, they didn't care. I also said in the video that Brenna and Musxaders owed me an apology for blocking me, jumping to conclusions about me, and for telling me to fuck off when I tried apologizing. And of course, as soon as the arrogant SSJ Blake hears this message, the very first thing he says to me is, "We don't owe anyone an apology. You're mad because you got blocked and complain about it." And then he adds, "Newsflash, bud, nobody cares. There's other places to be besides Twitter." And he told me to get a life. And newsflash to you, Blake, I believe you were the one who said in one of your multiverse Sonic streams to follow Brenna and your friends and show them support. That's exactly what I was doing. And you had to go and jump to conclusions about me and be a narcissist, and Musxaders did the exact same thing. I remember him plainly stating in response to one of my statements in the video that having autism isn't a valid excuse for being shitty, and that I'm giving autistic people a bad name. He deleted the tweet, though, but I have not forgotten it. My friend posted a GIF to SSJ Blake and Musxaders of a video of someone really depressed to show how upset I was for how they were treating me when I know I didn't deserve it. And Blake's response made me absolutely sick to my stomach. His response was so cold, it was enough to make me snap. Blake said, "Oh, boo hoo, get a life and worry about something that matters." Stevens said that Mercedes and Blake should be ashamed of themselves for treating me like this, but Mercedes and Blake had absolutely zero remorse at all. Mercedes also said, if a grown man is crying because somebody blocked them on Twitter, that shit is honestly as funny as it is pathetic. With that said, it's only clear to me that they were absolutely bullying me, and at this point, I can't believe that Brenna or Nick would condone any of that bullshit. They were letting them say whatever the fuck they wanted. I basically was telling them, is it such a crime to apologize to someone and ask to be on their server again and ask for forgiveness? And Mercedes said that they're allowed to decide who they do or don't forgive, and straight up rejected any forgiveness from me, no matter how much I apologized, and statistically stated that they're not sorry. Well, newsflash to you, Mercedes, I'm allowed to decide whether or not that I want to let this go. I mean, sure, you're allowed to decide things. You're allowed to decide whatever the fuck you want. But that doesn't mean that makes it right. That doesn't mean that all your decisions are the right choice. Like I said earlier with my previous statement, when you said having autism isn't a valid excuse for being shitty, your slander, bullying, and laughing at me shows that you're the one being shitty, and you're the one giving autistic people a bad name. Yes, I may have gotten really pissed off and said something that I deeply regret saying. I'm not going to hide the fact that I said it. So, I do believe that because Blake had absolutely tipped me over the edge, while I do take full responsibility for saying that, I do believe that Blake and Mercedes were in a way trying to goad me into saying something I'll regret, like trying to provoke a reaction out of me so they'd have a reason to keep me banned. Basically, at first, me and Steven tried to apologize and explaining that I didn't mean to creep her out, but Blake had made me reach my boiling point. I absolutely snapped, and that's when I started reprimanding Blake. I called him a fuckface, and I even went as far as to guilt tripping him by saying, how would you feel if someone committed suicide over something you said to them? I deeply regret saying that. And of course, that definitely made him mad. It didn't so much as guilt trip him, it more like made him lose his cool. Basically, all it did was just wipe his sadistic smile off his face and made him snap right back at me. I absolutely regret saying that and insulting them, but the reason why I did at that point was because I'd already apologized and tried my hardest to be nice to them, but when they don't listen to reason, I don't have much of a choice than to resort to tough love. I had also declared that Blake and Mercedes had absolutely no hearts or souls, don't give a shit about their fans, and think that they have the right to say whatever the hell they want. I stated that all I wanted was to be allowed to follow you guys and ask questions regarding the multiverse Sonic content. Well, that's initially what I wanted, and perhaps ask for some commissions to support you guys. My friend Joseph showed me Mercedes' response to the GIF after the confrontation was over, and Mercedes said that it's not that we don't have hearts or souls, it's basically the fact that you and your friends are self entitled little shits, and stated that I had my chance and I blew it. Well, first off, I'd like to say, how the fuck was that even a fair chance? I basically just put a comment, a cute, underneath a piece of artwork of Brandy, and I only asked why Brandy wasn't wearing shoes in another picture, and she straight up blocked me instead of saying something like, please don't make these comments, or letting me know that she wasn't accustomed to those comments, to which if I had known, I would have stopped. And second, if you guys really have hearts or souls, or even a conscience, I need better convincing than what you have shown me. Straight up saying that you don't give a damn about how much you hurt me, and even laughed and scorned me and called me pathetic, and all because I was desperate to get through to you people who. What I also can't stop overlooking is that you just simply want to shrug this off and completely toss all blame on your end aside. You people think you are so righteous and principled when you can't even admit your own faults, like I have. You even have supporters, or at least at the time you did, other people who followed or supported you also had blocked me, since you apparently convinced them that I'm not to be trusted. One person who called himself a Starlight in time had posted a bullshit response to your reply when you stated that you don't owe me an apology. He also posted some random Will Ferrell gif as well, shortly before blocking me. One thing that made me feel slightly better was when I found out that his Twitter account had been suspended. So, Starlight, if if you have a new account and you see this, this is what you get for choosing the wrong side. As time went on, I learned that it wasn't only me you belittled. There was one woman I'm also friends with who goes by the name Sammy Black. She was bullied by you as well. While she while she did trace one or two of pictures from Brenna, she wasn't told she was doing anything wrong. Like, it's like the same case with me. If you had said to her, "Hey, don't trace my pictures," instead of going full hostile towards her, I'm sure she would have stopped. And as I stated earlier, there was nothing on your Twitter guidelines to let people know that they're breaking your rules. She had even apologized to you countless times, and you refused to give her a second chance. And what's worse is that Blake called her a moron, which definitely pissed her off. Mercedes had also posted about her as well and said that you don't start chastising someone for calling you out. Well, anyone with a brain can fully see that she definitely had a good reason to be mad. So did I. Brenna had also asked if telling someone off makes her a shit person. A lot of people on her side, of course, said no, but from my perspective, it depends on how you do it. But in a case where someone was blocked over misunderstanding, or a case when someone is trying to apologize and are actually admitting their mistakes, and you, your boyfriend, and Mercedes straight up resort to being so condescending, then that's where the hot water begins to rise. And people would definitely have a reason for getting angry at you for that. And here's another person too. I followed this YouTube channel. Even I even comforted this person too, because I know who, because I know how he feels and I know what he's gone through. He calls himself Flame King, who stated that either once or twice he asked to use Brandy in his videos, but but Brenna of course refused. Not saying that Brenna didn't have the full right to refuse since it's her avatar, but when he admitted it was wrong to do that and promised never to do it again, and actually sincerely meant it, and Brenna straight up doesn't have the heart to forgive him or simply tell him not to do it again. It's like I said before that that's when the hot water rises. I recall Brenna posting something on her Twitter. It was a sketch picture of either her avatar or Brandy the Lycan with her arms crossed, glaring at another avatar that has a sad expression on his face. And also, she said in the tweet that the guy said he was quitting YouTube because she wouldn't let him use Brandy. Now, I don't know if that was Flame King or not, but I definitely would believe it if it was. Flame King had also mentioned that in one of his videos got that he got a compliment from Princess AG, the person who voiced Styx the Badger and Sony in some of the VR chat videos with you and Silver the Hedgehog. He had also mentioned that Multiverse Sonic said something to him once that made him really upset. He didn't clarify what he said, but I assume it must have been something either insulting or disrespectful. But whatever it was, it cut him deep. Again, I don't know if that was the same guy you mentioned in that sketch picture, but because he mentioned once that he was planning on quitting YouTube, but he changed his mind. And another thing, SSJ Blake, with how you've been talking to people, I saw one comment from someone where they were complaining about the way you draw Boom Amy, like how inappropriate you made her. And you gave a very uncalled for, immature response, saying, "Go cry about it, wah wah wah," similar to what you heartlessly said to me. Back when you were still online, you would always tell people to follow you guys and show support. Well, gaslighting, jumping to conclusions about people without any warning or forgiving them, and deliberately scorning and bullying them, and just flat out giving a response that was straight out scathing is not the way for you to achieve support. That goes for Brenna and Musxaders and Multiverse Sonic as well. Oh, and speaking of your behavior, Blake, a YouTuber that I mentioned earlier, Multiverse Sonic, posted a video with your actual face on it, and it said how much of a weirdo and creep you were to her. She said she actually used to be friends with you, and the entire time you guys were collaborating on VR chat videos, she did say that you were like constantly teasing her, sometimes stepping over your boundaries, and would constantly take your jokes too far. And you proceeded to do it no matter how many times she told you to stop, and never once apologized for it. Talk about accusing me of being a creep and a weirdo. That right there shows that I am no more of either of those things than you are. At first, I remember back when people would be making videos supporting you guys from at least 2021 to 2023. They were all positive and supportive, but around when we get to late 2024, that's when your support started to go downhill. Of course, it was only after you left YouTube when the negative videos about you started rolling in. At first, the only negative thing that occurred was the death threats and demands for you to bring back Boom Sonic and go through with the Boom Dino wedding. I'm surprised people didn't do the same when you had Brandy and Metal Sonic killed off too, only months after Brandy and Metal were married. But anyway, the negativity was all on was all on the fans for that one. Even though I didn't like it that you killed off these characters, Blake had no fault in that. But the most recent ones is now on YouTube is definitely the straw that broke the camel's back. You never apologized for anything you've done, nor have you ever taken responsibility for your actions, and always put full blame on others. But after this, it looks like your reputation luck has finally run out. I knew you'd face karma at some point, but I certainly didn't think it would be this soon. And on your last post before you shut your channel down, I have full reason to believe that the only reason why you apologized or feel even the slightest bit of regret or guilt is because you were caught, and the secret is now out. I remember when you posted about a miner named Ozono Fantasy who used to draw pictures for you guys, but got banned on account of making NSFW pictures of your avatars, even after being told to stop numerous times. But as of now, making that statement and calling him out for doing that is rich coming from you. I'm not saying he didn't deserve to be banned or reported either, but what I'm saying is, calling him out at this point is honestly funny coming from you, seeing as you have now that you have now admitted to engaging in illegal activities with a minor. To me, it sounds like you believe that the rules don't apply to you, and think that you can do whatever you want and not answer for it. I have no idea if your girlfriend Brenna knows about this, same with Musxaders and Multiverse Sonic, or if they've been covering for you the whole time. Well, newsflash, you can't hide it anymore. You've had so many fans on your side, even with your irrational behavior. Well, guess what, bud? You can't exploit your way out of this one. I remember a year ago when you left the Multiverse Sonic AU, you posted on your community with some heartfelt message that sounded like, "Thank you all for your support. I wouldn't have done it without you," and basically sounding as if you actually care about your fans and crap, when I know what your true colors are. Blake had also mentioned in his message that his mom and dad would be proud of him. Well, tell me this. From what I just explained, you getting involved with a minor, bullying your fans, and completely reject people's forgivenesses, as well as directly jumping to conclusions about people and being an absolute creep to Fleetway, tell me this. Would your parents be proud of you for that? And perhaps this is one reason why you don't even have a job. And another thing, did you drop out of high school, or did your parents take you to bully school or something? Because you're certainly not disciplined. And another thing about forgiveness, everyone deserves a second chance. I believe that. Unlike you, I know when to forgive someone. Teachers back in school taught me that. Same with work. Think of times when you're enemies or rivals with someone and you completely don't want to talk to them. And the teacher or supervisor would sometimes force you to work with this person. So wanting to avoid them or not interact with them was completely out of your control. I was forced to work with a lot of people who pissed me off and could do absolutely nothing about it, at least not without getting in trouble. But over time, some of these guys had actually became good friends to me, and I learned that these were set up so we could learn to forgive and forget and let bygones be bygones. But that doesn't seem to be the case with you. When you ban someone, you keep them banned, all because you like accusing people of bullshit and won't change your opinion on them no matter what proof they show you. And seriously, this goes for you too, Brenna. Would it hurt for you to actually forgive someone every now and then. My God, I wish you were more like Brandy. Even she eventually forgave Fleetway. I know all of you will most likely be saying shit like, I'm insane, or use the fact that I'm not a very well known user as Blake is, and say that I'm only doing this to provoke a reaction or express my anger. Maybe I am, or maybe I'm trying to set a point to explain my side of what really happened. Y'all can say whatever you want about me. I'll just ignore it. Besides, what more hurtful things can you guys say to me that you haven't already? And I have friends who know I'm telling the truth. I'm sorry for bringing up your personal stuff, Blake, but if that cuts you deep, well, you cut me deep as well, too, last time we spoke. Don't blame me for bringing it up. You brought it on yourself. So, I feel it's only fair. And at this point, I'm not asking for forgiveness from any of you people, seeing how there's no use in me doing that anymore. But I will say to you, Blake, same with you, Musxaders, that both of you need serious help. You need to learn to treat people better and stop bullying them. Again, I'm very sorry for snapping at you people. Whether if you care or not, I still mean it. And let it be known that I don't hate any of you people. I don't hate anyone. I just wish you guys would get your acts together. I seriously pray for you people, and I seriously can't think of anyone else who needs my prayers more than you. And one last thing before I end this message. Prove to me that you have hearts. Prove to me that you're capable of forgiveness and empathy. I don't think you are, but see if you can prove me wrong. And I do hope you people heal, and I wish you all the best of luck for whatever happens in the future.